Johan, you think Christ has one nature, man?
Hey, it's late. Yeah, so
That's
hi
true. It
Father.
is for me, at least.
Yeah, hi Father. It's an honor to speak with you.
Yes, sir.
I also like Marvel Rivals, but I would still like to push back a little bit on the diaphysite stuff.
Why are you a monophysite?
Well, I would say I'll explain. If
Okay, that's what I'm asking you to
yeah,
do. Yeah.
so my question, yeah.
I said, why are you monophysite?
So one of my questions is, if will is a faculty of nature, but choice is an act of a person, and if there's no human person making a human choice, then it's only the divine word who is doing the choosing. And I find that to be problematic for several reasons.
Right. So that's not what we believe.
Really?
Yes.
We
We don't believe Christ made choices.
He doesn't have a
wait.
Right.
What?
So
He doesn't have a nomic will.
What?
Man.
when we talk about will as a function of nature, we're talking about what's called the natural will. Okay.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
natural will is not a faculty that makes decisions, and it's not consciousness. That's not what that is. So
Right.
everything that has a nature has a natural will. So trees have a natural will. Right? Trees don't make choices. Right?
Interesting.
But so a natural will, if you have an acorn, right? That acorn has the same nature as an oak tree, right?
Okay.
Just like an embryo, a human embryo has the same nature as a full-grown human, right? So that acorn, if it's planted, will grow into an oak tree, right?
Yeah.
And so natural will is what we call that internal movement that drives the acorn to grow into the oak tree.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So for a human, the natural will is what causes, right, a fertilized egg, right,
Mm-hmm.
to physically grow into a human, and what causes a human to grow in all ways toward perfection, toward toward humanity's purpose. And humanity's purpose is part of our nature, right? Or the purpose God created us for is part of the nature He created for.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So that's the natural will. So there's no decision making part of that. Okay.
And I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
That's funny to me. I'm
There is
sorry.
Saint Maximus.
This is Saint Maximus the Confessor.
I know. I know. Saint Maximus was the one that introduced the gnomic will. He was very famous.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what the gnomic will is, after the fall, after Adam is expelled from paradise, right? The gnomic will, what St. Maximus calls a second movement of the will. So there's that first movement that causes us to grow toward perfection. This second movement develops because our nous, right, our mind, our spiritual sense, after the fall is clouded, right? It's unable to see clearly. So after the fall, we as humans aren't sure what is good, aren't sure what perfection is.
Oh, don't we know it?
And so we need this second, the gnomic will develops, and that's the faculty by which we deliberate and make choices and try to discern what is good and what is not, right? So to some people, it might seem good, right, to just make as much money as they can any way they can. And so they do that because they think that's what's good. They're wrong, right?
Right.
We would say they're wrong.
Right, of course.
That they're not deliberating properly, right? And we believe that part of our salvation is that God cleanses and purifies our nous, our mind, so that we can see clearly what is good, right? And so we can make better choices and pursue what is truly good.
That sounds beautiful.
Right?
Man, that sounds unspeakably beautiful.
You should be a diophysite.
Yeah.
You should become Orthodox.
When we say Christ didn't
I can't be a donkey physite. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't. I gotta be
the
really
explanation. Listen.
But so when we say Christ didn't have a gnomic will, right, and didn't make decisions like that, that's because he didn't have to. Because Christ always saw clearly
That's really interesting.
what is good and what is right, and he did it.
That's really interesting.
He
I've
didn't
never
have to
heard.
try and figure it out like we do. Because we're
Man,
fallen. Right?
that just derailed my whole line of argumentation for this. But wow, yeah. Well, I guess I'm gonna pivot then for now and just say I would think
All
I
right.
was talking to some
Respect
people.
it.
Yeah, I was
At
talking to
least
some
you'll own
people.
the pivot.
Yeah, I was talking to some people in chat, and it seemed like from part of my upbringing was Catholic, and then I'm hearing the way they talk. It sounds like the Eastern Orthodox view is okay. It's kind of ironic. People often claim that the Protestant position of faith alone is too good to be true, and that it's actually too good to be true because it's false gospel. But the Eastern Orthodox position, with its emphasis on healing and the lack of this pain debt terminology, that also seems way too good to be true. Also, if I'm being honest, that also seems just way too good to be true.
Why was the problem that Christ was trying to solve a legal decision?
Well, I would say that it was a. I wouldn't use the word payment because I know if I were to say, well, the son paid the father, I know a lot of
I
people
get, but I'm
don't.
saying like Christ is trying to bring us back to the proper state of affairs that was in the garden, right?
Right,
To restore everything.
right.
In the eschaton superseding the garden, but like, what is the problem there? The problem is not a legal decision.
Well, the problem is our evil. I mean, I'm sorry. I know it's harsh. I'm sorry. Our like we have guilt and we
What I'm
have
trying to
evil.
get at is that
And
like it's not a legal decision that's the problem, so a legal decision is not going to fix it. The problem is ontological, so you need some ontological change to fix it.
I believe that's what Christ did on the cross. He was offering his suffering to the divine justice of the entire Trinity. It's not the Son paying the Father or the Son being damned. No,
So God's justice changed.
is God's justice changed?
You're talking
I'm not
about
sure what you mean
the
by
way
that.
the language you're using is like something happened add extra, right, outside of God, and now God needs to go do something because there's a change inside of God. Now God needs to go like exact justice, right? Like
Well, I would argue that Christ did undergo change.
You're imposing some necessity on the divine nature that's external to it.
Well,
The big problem.
I think our guilt had to be dealt with in a brutal way, and Christ being torn to shreds like he was, you know, he dealt with it. He dealt with evil. He looked in the eyes and he dealt with it and he
Okay.
crushed it.
But so your initial objection was that our view is too good to be true.
Yes.
Okay, so your view is Christ did something 2,000 years before you existed, and so now all of your evil and sin and corruption you don't have to worry about.
Well, no, in some sense, I'm saying the opposite, that Christ, his action was a declaration of the seriousness, because I
Okay,
believe that I personally crucified him.
But did
myself.
he dealt with it though, right?
Right.
So you don't have to. That's the substitution.
Well,
part, right? Like
again,
Sounds
this
too
is
good to be true, honestly.
Yeah,
right.
I know.
let me say something about our view. Our view, you said, is healing. That's right. Okay. But our view of healing is not just like, oh, you've got a cold. Okay. Our view of healing is like, imagine you were horribly injured.
Leprosy.
Well, no, injured. Horribly injured, right? You're in a car accident or something. Broken bones, burns, right? Horribly injured. Okay.
God forbid.
God forbid, yes, that this actually happens. Yeah. But imagine, or just imagine someone, right, who this happens to. Okay. The rest of their life is going to be about what? Healing, right? Trying to heal from that. That's not going to be easy. That's going to be years of recovery, of physical therapy, of surgeries, right? Of pain, of difficulty, of struggling.
Well,
right?
it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to be painful.
To get better and to get stronger, right?
Yeah.
Get better and to get stronger. That's our view. That's our view. So when you come to the Orthodox Church and you talk about the sins you've committed, our answer to you is not like, okay, well, you said it out loud, so now you're forgiven. Don't worry about it. Jesus took care of it. Our answer to you is going to be, okay, you know those people you hurt? You need to go back to them. You need to tell them you know what you did to hurt them. And you need to try to make it right. That's what repentance is.
So, but the ultimate person I've hurt is Christ. I crucified him myself. So
you also hurt a lot of other people too. I have too. We all have.
Oh, interesting.
That's what sin is. Sin isn't doing something that God doesn't like. Right? Sin is doing something that hurts yourself and other people, harms them in some way. Right? Could be spiritually, could be emotionally, could be physically, right? But you harmed them in some way.
But it could be a harm that you're not even aware you're doing.
Right. But when you become aware of it,
that makes it even scarier because you don't necessarily even know.
We talk about in the Orthodox Church sins both voluntary and involuntary. Right? Words and of deed. Thoughts and actions. Right. We get into the weeds of it. Right. And if it's something that you're doing to yourself, by yourself, and that's a sin that you confess, then we're going to talk about, okay, how are we going to fight this? How are we going to get you free of this? And with a lot of things, a lot of addictions and a lot of things that people do habitually, that's a lot years of hard work and struggle to try to kick those things and try and battle back against those sins. And at no point does the Orthodox Church say to you, don't worry about it. It's okay. Someone else took care of it.
Oh, no, I wasn't necessarily implying that, but
I think the Orthodox road is way more difficult than the Protestant road, frankly.
Well, just because something's more difficult,
you said it was too good to be true. So if you're now admitting it's more difficult, then your initial argument, right, doesn't work.
Isn't it possible for someone to be an amazing Orthodox representative, but not just have a good life? They're healthy, they're generally happy, but they're also following God. Isn't that possible theoretically?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I'm not saying it's a life of misery. I'm just saying if we're doing a comparative, right? If we're doing a comparative of the two.
Well, it's definitely richer. I would say the EO with the iconography, the saints, it has the Protestant faith alone. It's kind of, there is arguably a somewhat emptiness to it, as opposed to both Catholic and EO. They have a deep history, this communion of saints. There's a whole library, spiritual and physical, So, yeah.
At this point, I'd love to take you through like whatever the equivalent of the sinner's prayer is for EO, but
we don't have one.
We don't have one.
Oh, well, the equivalent of the sinner's the equivalent of the sinner's prayer for Protestants?
Yeah, because you were like, well, there are some nice things about EO, and then I'd just be like, all right, now just close your eyes and say this prayer.
Oh,
I'd have you.
But
anyway, I hope that answers your question, man. At the very least, we have to consider some. You have to read Disputation with Pyrrhus to understand.
Again, I just want to clarify though, and I'll maybe call another time talk more about this. But I believe that when Jesus when his blood was spilled, that it wasn't just the divine person through the human nature. I believe that was literally the blood of God.
Yes, the Bible says it was the blood of God.
Right, but I'm going a step further. I'm saying God died according to both natures.
You're trying to say there's a change in the divine nature, and you can't do that.
No.
At least you said both natures and acknowledged that he has two.
Got him.
No, I didn't. I didn't mean it like that. I was doing it so you guys would understand. But no, I believe
you've been exposed.
I believe that the immortal one truly tasted death in full. No, according to this or that, in totality. And if you say, wait, how could that happen? How can, because I've heard you say that, the divinity, other people have said the divinity is impassible. I think God is capable of making his own divinity temporarily no longer impassible. And that's how much he loves us and how much he loves you. He gave everything for you. He suffered everything. He didn't hold anything back, bro. That's Christ. That's God.
Miaphysites, I'm pretty sure, can say all those things you just said.
They can't. They can't because like you said, they have to walk that tightrope because they can't. They can say God died. They can say God died on the cross, but not in a complete, full, literal sense that a Miaphysite can truly say that.
Because you can't have a change in the divine nature.
It's not a change. See, that's another often of confusion. It's not a change in the divine nature
So
itself.
then you have a distinction between the divine nature and the human nature, and now you're diophysite.
No, again, after the union, a new, like Saint Cyril said, who was one of the best Miaphysites ever. He said after the union, a
We
new
already had this
reality.
conversation, man.
I
Did
know.
you read Cyril's 12th anathema?
I read his fourth, and yes, I read his 12th. But remind me again what his 12th was. I
Does
read
Saint
it
Cyril say that Christ's that the divinity suffered?
in the 12th anathema. Again, I have to read it again.
It
I haven't
says that
memorized.
Christ suffered in the flesh. He died in the flesh. Doesn't say anything about him suffering or dying in the divine nature.
Okay, I mean,
He specifies he suffered in the flesh. He died in the flesh.
yeah, but but he was like, yeah.
I love you, bro. I hope you become Orthodox one day.
I understand. The only thing he did was do letter 44, and I know Diophysites love to jump on that. Letter 44 to Antioch.
I mean,
That
I
was
didn't.
that was a peace treaty. That was a concession. Saint Cyril he remained a Miaphysite till he died. So the letter 44 is ridiculous and it's a red herring.
Thank you for
Yeah.
your opinion. I
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
that. God
Yes,
bless
sir.
you, Johan.
God bless both of you. Thank you, guys.
Bet. The Miaphysites, he's a non-denominational Miaphysite, he's called him before.